Hey, good morning everyone. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to Out and About. My name's Stuart and today we're doing something a little different. Find out after this. Welcome back to the channel everyone. I'm Stuart, Victor Echo 9 Charlie Foxtrot for all my ham radio friends. And today we're out and about in beautiful Niagara Falls, Ontario. We're going to take a walking tour of downtown Niagara Falls on this drizzly, wet morning here on the border with the United States and Canada in Niagara Falls, Ontario. And we're not checking out the falls. We're in a different part of Niagara Falls that not a lot of tourists come to. Everyone, welcome to downtown Niagara Falls. Niagara Falls was my home for much of my upbringing. I lived here until I was 17 years old, and then when I was 17, I moved to St. Catharines and ended up living in St. Catharines for a year before I joined the military when I was 18, and eventually ended up in Alberta, and then came back to the Niagara region for a little while, and then eventually ended up in New Brunswick. But yeah, this is Niagara Falls, Ontario, downtown Niagara Falls, a place where not a lot of tourists come to, but they look like they're trying to revitalize downtown a little bit here. It was for years in decay, very many years, just forgotten, not paying attention. But it looks like today they are starting to revitalize downtown and making it a little bit more attractive, at least for the locals to come to and enjoy. There's lots of new cafes, a lot of cannabis stores. There's one right there. There's another one just on the next block. So there's a lot of cannabis stores. But yeah, this is downtown Niagara Falls. I'm going to give you a little bit of the history to the best I know of downtown Niagara Falls, being here until I was 17 years old. So this is the old Seneca Queen movie theater. We used to come here. This is one of the two. This was the first movie theater I remember in Niagara Falls. And then they opened up the one at the Niagara Square, and this one kind of started not being as relevant. I think there was two movie theaters in here, and they played a lot of normal movies that were popular at the time. But now I don't know what to do with it. But it's still got the Seneca Queen branding on it. No, nothing on the marquee. But this is the old movie theater. There's the old you can see the popcorn stand there. Yeah, two movie theaters in here. And it looks like this has been deemed a historical location. Let's see what it says on this plaque. So this theater opened in 1940. It doesn't say if it's a historical building or anything, just gives you a little bit of a history. The premiere movie played here was Niagara, starring Marilyn Monroe.
Take me in your arms.
She sang of love just as she lived for love, like a Lorelei, flaunting her charms as she lured men on and on to their eternal destruction. And her own husband was no exception.
In 1953, the Canadian premiere of Niagara was played here. That wasn't the first movie, but that was the premiere of Niagara with Marilyn Monroe. So kitty corner here on Chrysler Avenue in Queen Street is Poptones, the black building there. Well, it was Poptones. Now, Poptones was a place that I went to a lot as a youngster in my teens. The guy who owned it, Frank, super nice guy. We would come here on paydays and buy our vinyl. Yeah, we bought records, vinyl records from Poptones, domestics, imports, bootlegs, whatever you wanted, Poptones had. And it was like that head shop. I wouldn't say a head shop like you get in Toronto, but it had besides records and music, it had t-shirts and some smoking paraphernalia. But yeah, I'm not sure what's up with Frank these days. If anybody knows what's going on with Frank, leave a comment below. I haven't seen him since I left in 1988 when I left the Niagara area. I've come back numerous times since, but I left here to live in 1988. And it's 2024 now. Yeah, that's Poptone, the old Poptones there. Like I said, I used to spend a lot of money there back in the day on records and music. That was the place. That was our place to come to. And good old Frank. So I'm standing in front of Moodie's Bakery. That's been here forever. Remember my dad taking me here when I was a little boy, a little bigger than this, here to get meat pies and varieties and other things. And good to see it still here after all these years. So definitely a place to check out when you're in Niagara Falls. A cigar shop somewhere around here. I'm not sure exactly where, but now as we're getting closer to the river, to the border with the U.S., it's becoming less and less. The downtown is still in its revitalization phase. It's not as well kept as, say, down the street that way. This area here is needs to still be worked on. And a lot of shops here are closed up, and buildings are in somewhat of a little state of decay or being reconstructed. The TD Bank that was here is being reconstructed or torn down. I'm not sure what they're doing with it, but it's all fenced off. And I'm standing here in front of the old CIBC, the Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce building, or the old Imperial Bank of Canada. They still got the old crest on the building here. But yeah, this used to be the old CIBC that I remember. Again, I don't know what it was before that, but my dad used to come here to do all his banking back in the day. You got to remember in the 60s when a lot of the British immigrants came here, these are the places they settled, and these are the places they came to. And that's why we ended up here, is because my dad settled from Scotland in the late 60s into Niagara Falls. He was a police officer here for a number of years, and my mother worked for the police department. So yeah, a lot of British folks, Italians as well, settled here in Niagara Falls in the 60s and 70s. Now we're starting to see a lot of Indians and Muslim settlement or immigration coming into Canada, and the cultural shift is starting to change. There is a bit of a resistance from some of the old guard to maintain traditions. I don't know if that's good or bad. I'm not. This channel is not to side on political sides, or cultural sides, just to tell you what's happening. Building here is the post office, and it's still the post office today. So this one on the corner is the post office, Canada Post. Right here, Canada Post. Got to go on St. Clair, but the garbage truck's coming down the street now, so it's going to drown me out a little bit here. But yeah, this is the post office. Still the post office today. The Niagara Falls Federal Building. That's what that says up there. The Niagara Falls Federal Building. And there's the TD Bank on the corner of St. Clair and Queen Street. That's either being in the process of being torn down or being reconstructed. Never noticed the deer on the roof there, overlooking St. Clair. Behind me here now, looks like a hair studio. That was CJRN when I was growing up. I don't know if CJRN is still in broadcasting today, but that was our local radio station in Niagara Falls. And Rick Jenneret, who was the voice of the Sabres for many, many years until he passed away a few years ago, used to actually do a morning talk show here. And I remember my dad driving around in his Fifth Avenue, listening to Rick Jenneret in the morning here on CJRN, which was in this building on the corner here. And their claim to fame was they got to play Beth by Kiss by request from me, late 70s, early 80s probably. And yeah, there's the TD Bank that's being torn down there. They got to see the local trash guys picking up the trash along the street. So it's good to see that they're doing something to keep downtown clean. There is a lot of, I haven't seen any homeless, although people say there's a lot of homeless here in Niagara Falls. I haven't seen any homeless or tent. Well, speaking of that, I see one guy with a shopping cart up here. I haven't seen any, tents or anything like that you see in other cities or claim to see in other cities here. I'm sure they exist, but you haven't seen any in downtown yet. But yeah, there's a lot of people starting to walk around. It looks more like a homeless population. Every city has that. I mean, you can't get away from it now. But one of the things I have noticed in Niagara Falls, not so much down here, but definitely around the tourist area, was a number of Indian restaurants. So definitely a lot of Indian cuisine here in Niagara Falls now. So there across the street here at what street? Okay, here across the street on Ontario, there's another old building here. I'm not sure on Queen Street, Ontario, what building this is here. But it does say offices on the side door there, but it doesn't have any other signage from the past. So I'm not sure what was there. If anybody knows, leave a comment and let me know. Yeah, it's another one of those cannabis stores now. They're everywhere since Canada legalized cannabis. I wonder if it'll be like the Colorado, which the whole industry just collapses because there's just too many. Building here, which is Oslin Sawtile Insurance. I can't remember what that was. Maybe was it Kupalo Sports? Was that the old Kupalo Sports store? I think it was. Got a very unique, what's the word I'm looking for? A design that is not forgettable. I think that was the old Kupalo Sports back in the day. Of course, Jay Kupalo now is a realtor here in Niagara Falls, and I've had business dealings with him in the past. And behind me here, as I spin around, that's downtown Niagara Falls, the municipality of Niagara Falls, or the Niagara Falls City Hall right there. And we are starting to see a little bit more of the homeless population as we get down towards Erie Avenue in the older section of Niagara Falls. I'll call it the older because it dates back to the 1800s and before, and down this way. Here on the corner, I can't remember what that building that was on Erie Avenue and Queen Street. And as we come down to the corner of Erie and Queen, this building here, that was a building there on the corner, that is the where the old Rosberg's was, which was a department store. And I remember going there as a child with my mom because, again, that's where all the British immigrants went to, was Rosberg's, to do the shopping in the 60s and 70s. And I don't know when that closed down, maybe the 80s sometime, but the building's gone now. So, and you can start seeing some of the older architecture in the background there. So Niagara Falls has many foundings. One of the founders is Samuel Zimmerman, who came here with the railroad and started the building up Niagara Falls in the 1800s. So, but there's lots of claim to fame, or lots of claim of the founding of Niagara Falls. So read up in your history books. I lived here for many years, but I don't have a lot of knowledge of the history too much. I got to fix that. I do watch YouTube videos from time to time on history, so you just never know what you'll learn by watching some good videos. So behind me here is the Empire Building on again, getting into the Queen Street district here on Erie Avenue and Park Street. The Empire Building, I don't know too much about that one. Again, so if you know anything about the history of the Empire Building, please leave a comment. Let everyone know. But that looks like it's not in use anymore. You'll find that here in Niagara Falls, a lot of buildings, especially down in this area here, as you get on to closer to Bridge Street, the old train station, the GO Transit station. A lot of the buildings here are abandoned. They've never done anything with it. They just sat abandoned for years. Don't know who owns them. I don't know. Somebody's got to own it, and somebody's paying the taxes on the property. But they've been sitting abandoned for years. Maybe even some of them are condemned, but there's nobody using them. And as we get into the area closer to the train station, you'll see that, and it's probably not the best thing for people to see when they come in off the go buses or the Via train station here in Niagara Falls, is to see all these abandoned buildings. This is the GO Transit station here on Bridge Street in Erie. It used to be the old city transit for Niagara Transit, but I don't see any bus barns here anymore. So don't know where they moved the bus barns to. But this is the GO Transit uses this, and I don't even think Greyhound uses this. And again, for all you POTA people, we're on the Great Lakes waterfront trail here, which runs right down the river from the Lake Ontario to Lake Erie. We are out here, down here. Sorry, that's the Welland Canal. Here's where we're at right here on the map. And the Great Lake Trail runs all the way down. We were down this way somewhere yesterday, activating Chippewa Historic Park, or Battle of Chippewa's Park. But yeah, we were up here in Niagara Lake earlier. So, the Great Lake Waterfront Trail for all you POTA fans, right down here in downtown Niagara Falls. Behind me here is the Hotel Europa. I knew it as the Pussy Willow Inn. This area here in Niagara Falls when I was growing up was the red light district. A lot of prostitution down here. It's long since boarded up. Again, one of these buildings here is just not in use anymore. But it was a hotel. A lot of the windows are smashed up or boarded up now. I don't know if there's any squatters or anything in here. But this is the old Pussy Willow Inn. I can't say I've ever been in there. I've never been in there in my life. And I can't even tell you what it was like when it was open, because I just never went there. But I know from my listening to my parents that it was a cesspool of prostitution back in the 70s and 80s when I was young. And there's the what's ever left of the 3 red lights that used to be on the corner of Erie and Bridge. To let you guys know, this was the red light district. There was 3 red lights in there. Now there looks like there's a clear one, but at one time there was 3 red lights in there, and this would tell you that this was the red light district. Street there is the Via train station. The GO train comes in there from time to time. I'm not sure if this is deemed a historical train station like we have out east in Amherst or Sackville, where we can go and activate those as part of our POTO program. But that's the Niagara Falls train station. I think it's still in service today with Via, and GO may go in there. Well, actually, there's a GO bus, the number 12 that goes to Burlington right there. So yeah, I think the Amtrak comes through here from New York, which the US border is just on the other side of the camera there. So they look like they're doing some work here. They're a Bridge Street multimodal hub, $4.4 million. Looks like a fairly new sign. It looks like they're gonna be fixing this place up. I'd love to come back in a few years and see what it's like. Building here, I remember coming here as a youngster. I think it was the old Canada Customs building. Now the Navy cadets use it. It's a Niagara Falls Innovation Hub. So I imagine some tech companies are in here. But I do believe this was Canada Customs at one time used this building as an office. I remember it from when I was younger. So I think this was the old Canada Customs building. It's got all the ivy built growing over top of it now, which is very nice. What has that squirrel got? Got some dinner. The older architecture style building. This one looks like it's actually been in use. Looks like it was a law office at one time, or a court building, because it has chambers over there. Again, if you know, let us leave a comment below. But this building looks like it's actually being used today, and the upkeep on it is not too bad. It actually looks like it's been well cared for. Looks like it has bank on it, so maybe it was a bank at one time. Not sure which bank it was, but definitely one of the older buildings here that's been upkept. Oh, very well kept up. So this bridge here, going across to Niagara Falls, New York, is the lower bridge, or the Whirlpool Bridge. It is Nexus only. So if you are a Nexus card-carrying member, you can actually use this bridge to go across to the United States. And across the gorge there is Niagara Falls, New York. We've done other videos where we've been in Niagara Falls, New York. You check that out on our channel. But that's the Whirlpool Bridge that goes over to Niagara Falls, New York. It's Nexus only, or as the locals call it, the lower bridge. And on the other side of the bridge there, on the camera going to the left, is when the Whirlpool Rapids, the rapids of the gorge start. Pretty much the water is pretty smooth on the right hand side, and it gets into the rapids on the left hand side towards Lake Ontario. Another one of the Indian restaurants here in Niagara Falls on Cataract and Bridge, and we're coming up to well, an area that's a little bit more depressing for me, because I have lots of childhood memories here in this building right here that we're coming up to. This building here, again, long boarded up now. This 4122 here was Tony's barber shop, and Tony died many years ago, but that was his barber shop. And I still, when I came back to Niagara Falls from living out west, I came here to get my hair cut. And Tony was still cutting hair 11 years ago, well into his late 70s, early 80s, I do believe. But yeah, Tony's barbershop, long boarded up. It was a place I came to many times as a child. Then we get to 4166 here. The sign is still up on the building. This is Simon's restaurant. Pat Simon owned this. Pat was a long time supporter of the Niagara Regional Police Pipes and Drums Band, and that's how I got to know Pat. And a lot of the police officers came here. The joke was they call it Simone's by the River. But it was just your typical diner, and it had great food, and now it's long boarded up. Established in, what's the year on there? What does that say? Does that say 1964 or 1864 or 1884? I just can't make up that second letter, if that's what that's supposed to be. But Simon's Restaurant, well, it's not in business anymore, but it was a Niagara Falls classic for many years. Building located behind me here dates back to 1883. My earliest memory of this building here was it was the old Niagara Falls City Police Department office before, even probably as they merged with and became the Niagara Regional Police. My dad worked out of that building in the 70s sometime. I remember going there as a boy, but I know they moved over to Morrison Street. Now they're up on near the 420 in Stanley Avenue now. But yeah, that's the first police department here, the first police department office that I remember here in Niagara Falls, behind this building here, built in 1883. It still looks like in good shape today. I don't know what the inside would be like. But again, if somebody invested and built up this area, that would be this area would be really, really nice. Some classic architecture here. And then you got a lot of lots here where it looks like just the buildings have been torn down and just disappeared. So, it's going to take a lot to clean this area of Niagara Falls up, a lot of investment. But as Metro Toronto starts expanding down this way, they're building a new GO station and cleaning that area up and building that up more. I think this area will start getting better, and I hope that they preserve some of the heritage buildings that are here, because they are, part of history. And you know what they say, if you delete history, you recreate it, or you repeat the same errors that we made back in the day. So a lot of these old buildings here, some of them are still in use. I imagine some of them have been fixed up, but a lot of them just need a little bit of TLC, and they can become good. Now this one here, the old what was the building? The Empire Building, I think it was, from the other side. It needs a little bit more than just some TLC. It's falling apart. He has to own these unless the city puts these up to prevent people from going inside. Because they got a fence here, Larry's Rentals. I guess you could call Larry's Rentals and find out they got sign here from Kiefer Development, protecting our heritage. They look like they're boarded up, but they're not boarded up all the way here. So just it takes a little bit of investment here to make these things look great. I walk by, you can hear the pigeons inside scurrying. That reminds me of a building I went to in Calgary one time. A friend of mine bought it to become a document and data storage building, because it had like 1.5-foot concrete walls, and they bought it to make it into a data storage. And when we went up to tour the building, the amount of pigeons in there and all the pigeon crap were unbelievable. He built it, he took it and bought it and remade it into something great. That's all it's going to take here. This park here is known as Rosberg Family Park. So good to keep the Rosberg name alive here in Niagara Falls. So this is Rosberg Family Park. Of course, Rosberg's was just on the other side of Queen Street here in Erie Avenue. We talked about that earlier in the video. So good to see them keeping the Rosberg name alive here in Niagara Falls. I can't speak for the Gen Zs and those folks today, because I'm just not one of them. But I often stop and wonder, do they really care about history and our culture from the years past, like the 1800s and earlier than that? I often stop and wonder about that, because as a youth, I didn't care about it. I mean, I never even knew half of the history about half of these places down here. Although they're still here today, I don't remember them when I was a youth. So I stop and wonder if a lot of younger generations, now that I'm in my 50s, have the same concerns about history as I did back in my day. Now that I'm older, of course, I like to learn all I can and reminisce about a lot of things. But I wonder if that'll be the death of our culture, is that people forget. What's the old book, The 4 Generations? Every 4 generations, history seems to repeat itself. So we're getting into like 4 generations now from my father is my grandson. And it just makes you stop and think, are we doomed to repeat a lot of history and forget about a lot of the history of things here that, now that, we're in 2024, almost into 2025. 25 years of this millennium, or I can't believe that it's happened so fast. I'm up here on the Wayne Thompson building. This used to be, where my father was a police officer, the Niagara Regional Police Niagara Falls Detachment building, and now it's the Wayne Thompson building, and it's got a little bit of a facelift since the days of the Niagara Regional Police. But it's good to see that the city of Niagara Falls is using it for something else now. So Wayne Thompson was the mayor of Niagara Falls for many, many years. I can't remember exactly how many years he was the mayor, but he was the mayor for a long, long time. I think he was the mayor when I was living here in the 80s. But they redid this whole building now to a city office here on Morrison Street in Niagara Falls. 4343 Morrison Street. There's the old entrance to where the cells were down there. lot across the street where my dad used to park his Fifth Avenue when he used to go on shift. So they're, you know, kudos to Niagara Falls. They're doing something to make their downtown area a lot better. They still got a long way to go, but at least they're doing something. Never noticed this when I was walking down the other side of downtown, the Daredevil Alley. This little alleyway here with all the Daredevils, Niagara Falls Daredevils here, Daredevil Alley. Let's see, have a look and see what's in here. Hey Cochran, who does a lot of tightrope walking around the Falls View Casino. Blondin, who went across the falls in a tightrope in the 1800s. Ferrani, who had a competition with Blondin, I do believe. Bellini, a lot of them. A lot of daredevils in those days. Covered in a couple videos ago, or not a couple years ago in videos of the Niagara Falls, New York State Park on the other side of the border, Nikola Tesla. Niagara Falls is a big hydroelectric generation area because of the falls, right? So they have numerous power generation facilities here in Niagara Falls. So yeah, go and check those out. Like I said, I got other videos from Niagara Falls from a few years ago, the Canadian side and the US side. Go back on my channel and check them out. Some pretty interesting stuff you'll see there. We did one by the falls. We did one on the Niagara Falls side and Niagara Falls, New York side, and Niagara Falls State Park when Archie and I went for a walk around. I didn't take Archie out today just because I wanted to walk around a lot. And Archie, although he enjoys going for a walk, in a place like this, I got to keep him on a leash so I don't get the freedom to just move around as much. Somebody needs to set their watch. Right, so I hope you guys enjoyed this quick walking tour of downtown Niagara Falls here in September 2024. We're at our intersection here of St. Lawrence and Queen. Our Airbnb is just over there. It's been a nice Airbnb. I'll give Mark, the guy who owns the Airbnb, a kudos. He does a really good job with it. So my challenge to you, or my ask of you, is when you're visiting Niagara Falls, get away from the rat race of the tourist areas and come and check out downtown Niagara Falls. They're doing a really good job here to clean it up, make it look nice, and got some really some good looking restaurants here. There's so much more to see in downtown Niagara Falls. If I go this way and go down Queen Street a bit more that way, you get into the St. Patrick's Church and a bunch of other things, Valley Way and the old Niagara Falls Review Building. But there's only so much to show you in a video, and we're gonna wrap things up here. I'm Stuart. Thanks for coming out and joining me on my walk around Niagara Falls. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to our channel. We do stuff like this. We're just not all ham radio or fish and chips. When we're at cool places like here in Niagara Falls, we'll walk around and show you a little bit what we know. So we're off to Gravenhurst next, or Bracebridge next, to visit Missy's in-laws, or Missy's family, my in-laws, and we're gonna go up there for a couple days and then start making our way back towards New Brunswick. I'm Stuart, Victor Echo 9, Charlie Foxtrot for all you ham fans. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, leave a comment, all that good stuff. Let us know what you think of these videos, and we'll see you guys in a future video. See you later.